Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well guys, today I don't have any finished objects, but I do have several whips. In fact, I have a new whip and I've got two that are oh so close to being done. So if this sounds like your cup of tea, so to speak, go ahead and sit right down and stay a spell. All right, I want to get started talking about what I'm wearing. And this is the Field Sweater by Camilla Vad. I think it's Vad, V-A-D. And I just love this sweater. I made this using Circus Plum yarns. They're a hand dyer out of New Orleans, and I got it on our girls trip when we went to New Orleans. So it's a souvenir yarn for me. It's very, very nice. I think it's just a superwash, and it's just soft. It's very nice. But there's one thing I do not like about this sweater, and that is, aside from the fact that I knit it out of a DK weight, super soft or superwash merino wool, and it's too hot to wear in the summer, so I don't get a lot of wear out of it. I do in the spring and I do in the fall, but not in the summer. But the other thing is, this hits me right where it feels like it's choking me. So I am playing around with maybe folding the collar, but I don't think it's long enough to fold. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. And this was not a picked up collar. So, I mean, if I pull it, it's okay. But as I'm sitting there or I'm running around or I'm doing whatever, it works its way up and it hits me right about there where it is not tight at all. I mean, look at this. It is not tight. But it does hit me right at the space where it makes me feel like I'm choking. So I do, if I wear this, I do mess with it a lot. I pull on it, especially up here. But when I get it to lay right, I mean, like right there, I think it's super flattering. It's very comfortable. It's not hitting me anywhere that bothers me. And like I said, the yarn is very, very soft. And oh, look at this design. Now, I'll be honest. I don't know I'm ever knitting this again, and she does have a long sleeve version. I've thought about doing a long sleeve version. Maybe I'll rip out the sleeves or rip out the ribbing here, and maybe I'll make this one into a long sleeve version if I can find. I think I have another skein of this yarn left. If I can find that, I might do that, because that would be very good. That way I could wear it during the winter and I'd probably get more wear out of it. This one is not as tight. I don't know what I did, but this bind off is kind of tight. This one's not quite as tight. I don't know what I did, but I do really, really love this. It's just such a stunning pattern. But these were hard, guys. They were hard on my hands. They weren't hard to do. It was just fiddly, because there's like all of these pieces that you've got on there, all these little strands of yarn, and you've got to knit them together and you've got to do all this stuff. But I mean, look at that. It was worth it. I mean, isn't that just gorgeous? Absolutely stunning design. And you should go out there and look at the projects. There's one, and I forget who it's by. She's a pretty prolific tester, and she's featured on a lot of and I don't think it is Camilla herself, but she's featured on a lot of her patterns. And she did one where it was a two-tone and this was a different color. Oh, it is just stunning. If I ever do decide to do it again, I will probably do something like that, because it is just so, so pretty. So hop out there. I'll link these patterns in the description. I've not been doing a great job of doing that lately, but I will do that, and I'll try to go back and link them in the other videos as well. But that way you can go, and I'll try to link to the specific one that I'm talking about, that two-tone one. But it should be in the project pictures if you just go through there. All right, enough about what I'm wearing, and let's move on to what I'm working on. I am so disappointed. So incredibly disappointed, because I have worked my tuchus off this week to try to get 2 tops done. And I really, really did focus primarily on them. Now, I did have some knitting time that I didn't have as much of. Saturday night I went to a cookout. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And I did knit there, but it's not like sitting at home knitting while you're watching podcasts or anything, because, you know, I had to eat, I had to visit, I was up and down, I was, you know, running around and all that. So I did knit, but maybe not as much as I would have had I been at home. So I didn't have as much time, and I didn't take this project, I didn't take the one that I really thought I was going to get done, which is the Staffin Lite. I really focused on trying to get this done, and it is just beautiful, but I didn't take it with me. I still had the bottom to do. I felt like this was too fussy. I wanted just a stockinette, so I'll show you the one that I did take. I did get this body done yesterday or the day before, the night before. I might have gotten it done the night before, or I may have cast off yesterday morning, and I got the first sleeve started. I just realized I was not going to get this done. I could have stayed up 24 hours, and I was really, really tired yesterday too because I didn't sleep well the night before, so I was really tired last night, and I caught myself making some just careless mistakes, so I decided I was not going to get this done, so I picked up something a little bit easier. And so I stopped working on this, but I did get the body done, and guys, oh my gosh, it fits so good. Oh, I cannot wait for y'all to see this finished, and I promise you I will be wearing it next week. There are some things though I did. One was a mess up, but I went ahead and embraced it, and the other one I deliberately did. So when I'm down here on the body, and you probably can't tell, it's this one right here. I only did 12 rows instead of 15 like the pattern calls for of the 2x2 ribbing there. I don't know why. I had it in my head I only needed 12, so I only made 12 and moved right along. I needed 15. By the time I figured it out, I was starting the next round and saw that it was, and I was reading where I was supposed to end this, and I saw where it said the first 15 rows, and I went and looked, and sure enough it was the 2x2 ribbing, and I went, well, at that point there's 2 Estonian button rows, and then there's this pattern diamond row, and I ain't pulling all that back to add 3 rows. It'll be just fine, and it is just fine. I would hazard a guess that had I not just told you, you probably wouldn't notice. And I don't care if you do. It is my sweater, and I will do with it what I want to, and what I wanted to do was not go back and fix that. So, but the thing that I did do that I deliberately did, one of the things about Rebecca Close patterns, and I've noticed this around the Tolsta Tee, she tends to have wide necks. I don't like a wide neck. I don't want it so tight that it's choking me, but I don't want it way out here. That's the biggest gripe I have about my Tolsta Tee, the 4-ply that is made out of the coast. I wear it, and it's, I mean, the neckline is like all the way out here. Now, I did make it too big. I needed to knit a size smaller, but even with that, it should not be so far out that my bra straps are showing because the neck's so wide. I do not like a big neck. So she says that you're supposed to pick up at a rate of every stitch on part of it, and then 2 out of 3 on other parts. I'm not going to tell you which parts, it's paid pattern. But I will say I did not do that, and I picked up 2 out of 3 stitches on all of the parts, and I got I want to say it was 114 stitches that I picked up versus I think I was supposed to have like 135 or 150, or I don't even remember now, but it is less than the smallest size. I was a little worried about it because I didn't want it, I wanted to be able to get it over my head, and I didn't want it to be too tight. And so I tried it on after I picked them up. It looked like it was going to be fine. I knitted 5 rounds. I tried it on. It looked like it was going to be fine, and it looked really nice. And I think I only knit 10 rounds of this. I didn't knit 1.5 inches like it said to. You could either do 3 inches and fold it. I knew I wasn't folding it. I was just going to do a single layer. But I think I only knitted like an inch or something. I know I didn't knit as much as it said, and I think I only did 10, whereas at the bottom I did 12. So I really like it, and next week you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's the modification I made, and then I have gotten the sleeve. I did the first, because you end with, there's 15 rows here, and that's where, at least for my size, that you split. And I did the Estonian button band and then the garter ridge. Well, actually, I haven't finished the garter ridge. I still need to do what have I done? Yeah, I still need to do another regular. That's what it is. I'm in the middle of a row and I didn't look right. I'm working on my regular just knit row, and then I will start the diamond pattern, and then I'll do another Estonian button, and then I'll do another 15 rows, and then I will end it. And then I will do the other sleeve. I should be able to get this done by this weekend if I work on it, and that's what I plan to do. So that is my Rebecca Clow Staffin Lite. And I'm knitting it out of the Bendigo Woolen Mills 4-ply cotton in the colorway Cranberry Juice. All of that information will have been, it will actually be over here. It will have been put down there, so you will have seen it all along, even though I didn't tell you. And oh, I love this yarn. I really love it now that I've got it to where I can wear it. I put it on. Whew, it is really nice. I may have to look at those colors again, because I said this is pretty much the only color I like, but I gotta look again. There might be some other colors. I'm not sure. So, I'll move that over here. Sorry for the crinkling. I've got some bags out. I'll explain those in a minute. And whenever we get through my plethora of whips here. The other one that I am almost done with, and I thought I was going to get both of these done. And like I said, maybe if I'd stayed up really, really late and I had really, but the podcast channel is Melissa Knits for Fun. If I'm not having fun with it, then why am I doing it? So I'm not going to pressure myself just to try to get them done. And I realized that's what I was doing. I was kind of putting some pressure on myself to try to get them done for this podcast. I'm not doing that. That's not why I do the podcast. I do the podcast because I'm having fun with it. And I have fun talking to y'all. And I have fun talking about yarn and knitting and, you know, all of the things that go with it. And if I am putting pressure on myself and making it not fun, why would I continue to do it? So, not putting pressure on myself. Y'all aren't pressuring me. Why should I pressure myself? So I did realize, hey, I'm really trying to push through to make this to where I have it done for the podcast. It's okay. It is almost done. I did get my other sleeve done. So I have 2 sleeves. So yay. And my collar's done and all that. So, but it is still a little too cropped. And I have done, I'm not positive how many I have done, but I would say each one of these is 8 rows. So there's like 8, 16, then that's 16, and that's 16, and then I've done 8. So I'm not sure if I've done from there. I think I've only done 2 rounds and then a half round. I am going to do a full round and a half more than what it calls for, I think. I have to go count because it does say after you join in the round, you do, I think, the pattern like 3 times. It's just not long enough. So I'm at the halfway point, 8 out of 16 for the repeat. I'm going to finish this repeat, then I'm going to do another half repeat, and then I'm going to try it on and see where it is. And if I like it, I will do the ribbing. If I still need more, I'll just do 8 more rounds, and then I'll do the ribbing, and then I'll be done. So I've got 8, maybe 12 rows left, and then ribbing. I should have plenty of yarn. We'll see, and I'll order another ball if I need to. But this is the Nia Sweater, and this is a buddy knit that I was doing with my friend Leah from Ruby and Pearls, and it is Ruby and Pearls. I know last week I was like, wow, all freaked out. I was so worried about Brandon being in the living room waiting for me, and I thought everybody was going to be here. He was the only one that was in there. I tend to do that to myself. I'll get a little flustered, and then the words aren't right. So it is Ruby and Pearls. And as she explained to me, you know, it's named after the dogs, Ruby and Pearl, but she does pearl stitches, so that's why Pearls is spelled like it is, and it is plural. Anyway, all of that to say, it is Ruby and Pearls. And so, anyway, Leah is done, and she's been done now for a little while. I am not quite done, but I will get this done this week. And I am knitting this, like I said, it's the Nia Sweater by Irene Lynn. my buddy knit. I am knitting this out of the called for yarn, which is Durarum Natura Gilead. This should be plenty of yarn to get through this. And I am knitting something I've never done before. I am knitting the smallest size. I've never knitted the smallest size because I'm not a small girl. I got a little fluff on me, guys. I got a little meat on my bones. So I've never knit the smallest size. I'm usually knitting like a 5 or 6. Depending on the sizing range, I may even be knitting like an 8 or a 9. But I don't care. They're just numbers. I have way gotten past that. I just want my clothes to look good on me. Well, I like my clothes to be somewhere between a 48, like the E's to be between a 48 and a 51. A 51 is really on the high end. And it depends on the yarn and everything else. But this was a 48. And then the next one I think is a 52. And I knew I didn't want 52. So I went with the 48. It is fitting very nice. I do hope that, and I know it will because I have other sweaters in this. With the lace, it will block out very, very nice. And this is a nice yarn. It'll stretch. I mean, you can see how much stretch that has. It'll block out just fine, and I will have plenty of ease on it. If it were to fit like it is, non-blocked, I wouldn't be completely happy. I'd still wear it, but I wouldn't be completely happy, but I know that it's going to block out, and it will fit beautifully. And I cannot wait to see it. And this colorway in the Durarum Natura Gilead is Confiture de Rose, which means rose jam. So this is my rose jam Nia sweater, and I am in love with this. I love the yarn, and I love this color, and I love the pattern. So it's a trifecta for me. And guys, I'm going to show you my little stitch stoppers. These are baby goats, and they're just loving being here. And then on this other one, I have little turtles that I showed you last week and told you that I thought of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, I have to tell you, these are going to a new home this week. And I will tell you who is going to be the recipient of them at the end of the video. So they are going to be somewhere else. So I won't have them back on the podcast. All right. And then moving forward with another buddy knit, the monkey just fell on me. I guess that he wants to be a part of the podcast. So I'll let him sit right back here instead of on the shelf. I did pull all of the yarn down so it's not displayed like it was before, because whenever I did those videos about my whole scarn, I pulled all of that down, so now things are not quite right, and so he just fell. All right, so I am going to show you, I don't have much of this done, right? This is kind of like the one last week where I said, well, I've cast it on. But this is my buddy knit with Maria, who is the Knitting Shepherdess on YouTube. And you should check her out. She's got some really cool videos of lambing, little baby lambs. And she does beautiful, beautiful work. She's got a beautiful stash. And she is taught, she had a little bit of a moth problem with some stuff that she bought, so she's talked a little bit about that. And it's all good information to know. What should you look for if you're buying from somebody else's stash, and how can you prevent yourself from bringing moths into your stash? So go check that out. All right, because she does tell what she does to try to prevent things. But this is, I am using this knit from the bottom up. I am going to try this on and make sure it's not too big, but I actually do want this one to be a little bit bigger than maybe it normally would be, because it is all over color work. And I have found that when I do all over color work, even if I go up a yarn or a needle size, I tend to not wear them very much because they don't fit just right. They tend to be a little bit tighter on my body than I want them to be. So I am going bigger. I am knitting the size that it says I should knit, but my gauge is off. This is I get a 21 inch whenever I do color work with this super soft tailed double. And the gauge of the pattern is 25. So whenever I went and put in the app that I'm testing and did the math, it came back and told me I actually needed to knit a size or two down to it said 43 and something, and the 2 sizes down was up to a 42. So I would have gone 1 size down. I just decided to go ahead and make it a little bit bigger because I'd rather have a nice, roomy, comfortable colorwork sweater than one that's too tight to my body. And I can keep trying it on, and I can adjust and do a little bit of shaping if I need to. But I just got this cast on. I've done like the first 3 rows of the 1x1 ribbing. And I will put a picture up here of the colors that I've chosen. I'm pretty sure that these are the ones I'm going to go with. There's a possibility that I could swap a couple of them out, but I think that's what I'm going to go with. And this is the Mariner. Isn't that just beautiful? I showed y'all this in my Holst garn, every color I have, my entire stash of Holst garns. And I told y'all how beautiful it is, and just look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And so I am holding it double. I wound off some yarn in order to hold it double. And I did have a viewer ask me if, you know, how I wound them off and I did not break them from the cones. So I did do a small video about that. Let me know if y'all want me to post that as a short. I just made a video and then I just sent it to her. It's not set to public view or anything like that, but I could, it's short enough I could just do a short for it. So y'all let me know if y'all want me to do that or not. And if you do, I'll just release it and I'll show y'all how I wind off my cones. All right, and I'm not going to list all the colors. I will put this Mariner up there because it is just one color, but I'm not going to list everything because there's 11 colors. So as we go along and I make progress, I'll just list the colors that I'm working with at the time. I have linked them all to the project page. So they're all linked out there. And so you can go and check that out if you want to see the 11 that I'm going to use. But this is the Mariner. It's just stunning. And I think that the next 2 that I'm going to use, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the background. This is the Hyacinth. And so this would be on top of that. Isn't that pretty? And that would be in the next section. And then it's the contrast color. I have not decided if I want to go with a big pop of color or a more subtle pop of color, which I have. Ah! I just had a man overboard. I'll get that whenever I get there. All right, now I have lost it. There it is. I was sitting on it. Or if I want a pop of color, but not quite as bright. I'm kind of leaning to going with this because in the pattern itself, and I'll throw a picture up here, that bottom row, she has a really bright turquoise there. So it's like this big pop of color. I think I may go with these 2, but let me know if you think I should go with these 2 instead. All right, so that is the last of my buddy knits. Well, kind of. Because this isn't an official buddy knit, this next one. Oh, and this is, sorry, I didn't tell y'all who this was. This is the Sibylla, I think is how you pronounce it. It's Sibylla, I think. But that is, this is by Hot Buttered Yarns. And guys, I gotta tell you, Marie and I have been talking back and forth. This pattern does not give you a whole lot of information. And I suspect that Maria is right. I don't think that it was tested. I haven't gotten there yet, obviously, because I hadn't started the color work, but Maria said that she doesn't like how some of the joins are. It's under the arm. And I get that. Nobody's looking under your arm, but it's still like kind of a pretty join. So, and it does say that not all of them will finish at the end, so you may have some weirdness. I don't know. We'll see. And it is big enough that I might just be able to reduce the parts or adjust it if I need to. I had another one like that and it worked out just fine. We'll see. But that's who this is by, is Hot Buttered Yarns, and it's, I believe it's pronounced Sibylla. All right, now, that's not the last of my buddy knits. I said, oh, kinda. No, I have one more here, and I'm saving it until the last because, let me tell you, I have a lot to say about it. But this one is not an official buddy knit. But Leah did a buddy knit of the Arrow Tee with Black Sheep Knitter, and I forget her first name. I apologize. But she has a podcast, Black Sheep Knitter, and they did the buddy knit of the Arrow Tee, and I loved Leah's so much. I was like, ooh, I want to make that. So she kindly added me to the chat, and I've been knitting along with the, with the Black Sheep Knitter because Leah's done. But I have gotten it down. I have finally joined it in the round. I literally just joined it in the round right before we came in here. So I've got this much done. I know you're probably going, that is really, really, really long. That's a deep, deep V-neck. And it is, but you're going to fill all of that in with ribbing. So what I am going to do is I have this much of this ball left. And this is the Arrow Tee by Odd Row, and I'm knitting it out of the Lana Grossa 365 cotton, which is a discontinued yarn. I'm sorry, but it's in the colorway navy. Oh my gosh, I want more of this yarn. I may be trying to buy some stashes, but this is just absolutely beautiful. And I am going to knit until I'm done with this ball of yarn. And she suggests, because she says that when you put the ribbing in there, it's going to lift the front up a little bit. So she suggests that you do the ribbing before you decide on your final length. So as soon as I finish this ball of yarn, I'm going to pick up around the collar, around that V, and I'm going to do the ribbing. And then I will decide how long I need to do the body. If I have a lot of body left, I may go ahead and do the sleeves, and then I'll finish off with the body. If I've just got a little bit of body left, I'll probably finish the body and then move on to the sleeves. Doubt very seriously this is going to be done next week, but hopefully I'll have significant progress on it. All right, and then last but, well, not last. Well, it will be last, but that one's, I'm not ready for that one yet. I forgot about this one. And I just am horrible. I keep forgetting to show y'all these. I do have stitch stoppers on this. I showed y'all those. I'm not sure that I showed you these. I did. I showed you the little thingies. Okay. I'm disorganized today, and I have no excuse today. But I have the little Highland cows, and I'm trying to think. I don't remember if I bought these or if this was part of the gift that Jordan gave me when she gave me the Highland cow bag. But they're little Highland cows, and they are so, so cute. I love Highland cows. I have several things with Highland cows on them. And so that's those stitch stoppers. I'm going to try not to get everything completely tangled. And then these stitch stoppers I have shown before. I think I probably even showed them last week. And they are my little panda bears. So with their little pink feet. So I've got little pandas. And then this next pair is probably one of my very favorites. But this is the Soul Mosaic Tee by Claudia Quintanilla. And I got a little bit of this done. This is what I knit on at the cookout, or a barbecue. If you live up north is what you would know this as. We call them cookouts here in the South. I don't know what they call them over in England or Europe or anything. It's where you do the barbecue grill and you just cook the food on it. We call them cookouts down here because barbecue is a very specific thing if you live in the South. Like, do not go to Texas and tell them that barbecue is cooking weenies and hamburgers on the grill, because, woo, no, they will correct you very, very quickly. Barbecue is something very, very specific. So for us, it's a cookout. So I went to the cookout, and this is what I knit on. And like I said, it is the Soul Mosaic Tee by Claudia Quintanilla. One of these days, I'm going to get this done, hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm just in that phase of stockinette knitting. Once I get these taken care of, and this one, I really want them off. This will move to my meeting knits, and hopefully I'll get this done before the end of the season. And I am knitting this out of Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the colorways Cream and Navy. And these little guys may be my favorite all-time stitch stoppers. Look at little Harry Potter, and I'm going to try to get him close enough and see. He's got the little scar on his head and everything. These are adorable. I got these at Wholescorn. These are adorable. Oh my gosh, they're so, so, so stinking cute. So cute. Love these stitch stoppers. All right. Now, I know I didn't have a lot to say about that, but I only knit like that much on it. Now, this next one, and this is my last buddy knit. I am knitting this with my friend Marla. And I don't know how she's doing because we hadn't really chatted very much. But good Lord, I hope she's doing better than I am on it. This might have been one of my most exciting cast on. I was so excited to do this sweater. I bought the 52 weeks of sweaters purely because of this pattern, because I wanted to knit it so bad, and I knew I couldn't get my hand on it for like 6 months or more. I wanted to cast it on. I wanted to knit it out of the Moto, which is the yarn that it's called for. I wanted to knit it in cranberry, and she didn't have cranberry whenever I went and got the yarn, so now it's going to be turquoise. I was so excited about this. And then I started knitting it. And I was very confused because Rebecca Clow is one of my favorite designers ever. I think she does a fantastic job. She has so many alternatives for everything in her patterns. She is always very, very clear. I have never had a problem following her patterns. I know she's like petite knit. I hear people say petite knit is confusing to them. I've heard people say Rebecca Clow is confusing to them. I think that if you get somebody's writing style, then you're just good with it. And that's where I am with Rebecca. I mean, I've tested for her several times. I've never had a problem with her patterns, even test patterns that, you know, we're finding a few mistakes. This one's a little different. Now, I was very confused about that until I went, Nora Gone has a new pattern that she got the rights back to out of, I guess, the Nature book, and she released the first one. And when I went to her Ravelry page, I was looking for it, and there's a big note on the front of her Ravelry page that says, I can do pattern support for the patterns that are in my store only. If they are part of a publication, I did not write those final instructions, so please reach out to the publisher. I did not realize that the designer does not write the final instructions for the publication. Kind of makes sense because they only have so many pages, so I guess that they have people who will condense it and all that. I'm assuming that there is some editing that goes into it, and so what Rebecca might have put in hers, some of it might have gotten cut, because I'm telling you, the things that confused me. I almost gave up on this. I almost texted Marla and went, well, I hope that you're smarter than I am, and I hope that things are going well for you, but I'm giving up. And it was doing the short rows. It tells you your setup row, you do the, oh, I've got a mistake there I've got to fix. Oh, well, that's no big deal. It tells you to, it tells you to do a purl stitch at either end. So, but it tells you to start the half fisherman's rib with a knit stitch. Well, I finally figured out, okay, I'm just going to put a purl stitch there. I'm just going to purl those, and my half fisherman's rib is going to be in the middle. Right or wrong, I don't care. That's how it's going to be. So I decided that. And then I started trying to figure out how the heck I was going to do half fisherman's rib in short rows, because I wouldn't do the half fisherman's rib and knit the row below on the wrong side ones, because you do some of the half fisherman's rib patterning on the wrong side on one side, and then you do it on the right side on the other side. That's the other thing, it doesn't tell you that. So I had to figure that out. I went and Googled. I found out, okay, I just need to purl one, a row below, and I went and Googled and found out how to do that. So no problem, I'm doing that. I get along. So when I turned my work, let's see, I would have knit over here, and I would have turned my work, and that was the plain row. And then you turn your work, and then you do the pattern row. So I go back. So I do that here, and then I go along here, and I'm purling, and I get to here, and I'm thinking, oh, I need to pattern like that. No. Wait. You have not done the plain yet. So I had to tink some. I had to go back. I had to do the plain. So now I'm just doing regular. And then when I turned it, now I'm doing the pattern. So I'm doing the pattern on the right side on this side, pattern on the wrong side on this side. None of this is told to you in the pattern. And so anyway, I got all that figured out. I got the short rows done, and then I went to go do the regular row. And just how it was written, was a little confusing to me. It said to, you know, you do your increase, or you do your HRF or HFR, half fisherman's rib, then you do an increase, then you knit these, then you do an increase, then half, and then it just says repeat. It just didn't click in my mind. It is right, because you have another half fisherman's rib, then you knit this part, then a half fisherman's rib, a knit, a half fisherman's rib, and another knit. But it was just the shorthand of it just caught me off guard, because I am used to Rebecca giving you a couple of rows of instructions before she says repeat these rows, instead of just saying, yeah, repeat that and then go do that again. So, and here's the other thing. I don't know, maybe I could have done it wrong. Let's just be honest. When I did the short rows, I could have absolutely done it wrong. Don't care. I'm going with it. But the row that I do the patterning on is not the row that I also do the increases on, like I would expect them to be. So on the row where I'm not doing any patterning on the half fisherman's rib, I'm doing increases, doing raglan increases. And then on the row that I'm not doing raglan increases, I'm doing the patterning for the half fisherman's rib. Like I said, I probably screwed it up somewhere and gotten it wrong, but I'm going with it. This has been confusing to me, and I understand that they have to save space and a book can only be so big and everything, but there needs to be some way that they can say, you know, for more detailed instructions, go here or do something. I don't know what the answer is, but this one really confused me, because I spent over $50 on the book just to get this pattern and was so incredibly excited, and then was so incredibly disappointed and upset and almost gave up. But I persevered because I heard my dad. My dad's gone, so I didn't literally hear him, right? But I could hear my daddy's voice saying, why are you giving up? You can do anything you set your mind to, and I didn't raise a quitter. Not that he said it like that. He was very encouraging. But I heard him in my head saying, what are you doing? You can do anything you put your mind to. Sit down, get out of your emotions, and figure out how to go forward. And that's what I did. And so now I think I'm in a good place, and I'm hopefully going to have quite a bit more of this done before next week. This is the Tain by Rebecca Clow out of the 52 Weeks of Sweaters. And I'm knitting it out of the Moda, and the colorway is like 834G or something like that. They literally do not list a name anywhere. I cannot find a name. I've gone and looked at places, you know, shops that carry this online. Everything's just the numbers. I've gone to Wool Dreamers itself and looked at the colors, and it is just listed. I've gone to Ravelry. It is just the number. If you know the names, or you know where I can find the names, let me know. But for now, I'm just going to call it turquoise, because that's what it looks like to me. And it is a beautiful yarn. It really, 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 really feels a lot like the Gilead, the Durarum Natura Gilead. I think they're a different yardage and a different weight, but they really, really do feel very, very similar. So I think that you could easily sub these for each other. And look at that, isn't that pretty together? But I do think you could sub these out. All right, so that's all I have to say about this pattern. I'm just telling you, when you get ready to start it, and somebody commented last week and said they had given up on it. I would say if you really want to knit it, go ahead and try again, and feel free to reach out to me if you need some help on getting started. So don't give up. And, you know, that's what we have a community for, is to help each other, which will lead me to my next segue. But let me show you my stitch markers first. And these are the ones that say handmade with love, that were given to me by my friend Elizabeth. All right, so I'm going to move all this back over here, because the rest of the stuff that I'm going to talk about is over here. But I do want to tell you, speaking of communities, our Tulsa Tea, or Tulsa Cal, is over. So we have repurposed that chat that we had going on Instagram. We have repurposed that into just a community chat. So we're keeping it going. We kept the chat, and we renamed it. It's now the Knitwits. I let everybody vote, and that's what everybody voted on. I like it. So I went and changed the name to it, and I'll put the QR code up here. You are more than welcome to come join that chat if you want to. it is, some days is chattier than others, but it is just a great group of people in there. And I say people because I don't know that we're all women in there. But we have a great group of people that are just supportive. We are sharing, now we're enablers too, so let me warn you about that. But we're sharing if there's a yarn sale, if there's a pattern sale, if there's a test call, if there's anything like there's this beautiful new design that has just been released, if somebody needs help, if they need encouragement, whatever, and not just about yarn and everything else. Life happens as well. And we're sharing some of that, and people are saying, hey, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. It's everything a community should be. So I am so incredibly blessed and so thankful that that is happening, because that is truly why I started this, because I wanted to build a community, and I feel like that it's all coming together. So I will put that QR code up here. It should have already been up here and stayed. I don't know which side I'll put it on. Probably this side because there's more room, but I'll have the QR code up here, and I'll try to keep it up here the whole time that I've been talking about it. So you can just go ahead and do that, and it will take you to the group. And if you can't do that, if it doesn't work for you or whatever, just feel free to ping me, and I will be happy to add you to the group. All right. Now, with that, I'm going to turn to some acquisitions I have. But first, I'm going to talk about, this is not an acquisition. I already showed y'all this. I showed y'all that I got the Dando linen. And I was going to, this color is for the Skyline. And there is a group, Gina from I Knit and I Know Things is running a very informal cow. But there's, I don't know, 3 or 4 of us in there that are doing the Skyline together. And all I have done is swatch. There's one of the girls in there has already gotten one of the panels done. I'm like, wow, you're fast. But all I've done is swatch. I have to get some other things off the needles before I cast this on. I have to. But it is taunting me, because look at this color and look at that drape. Isn't that beautiful? So this will be on my needles before too terribly long, and I will be knitting the Skyline by, I can't say her name, Yakamoa? Anyway, Y-A, her last name's Alexander, so I'll put a picture and then her name up there. But this is the Dando linen, and I don't know the name of the, I'm not sure the name of the colorway. But I'll put that up whenever I start knitting with it. But I just wanted to show y'all this swatch and just how beautiful this is. And it is really soft. It is really, really soft. So this is a linen I really, really like. I'm going to have some more of that in my future. Now this one is an acquisition. And this came from the Knit Pick sale. They had this on, this particular color was not quite 50% off. I think it was about 45% off. They had some of them on 50% off. But this was the color I wanted. Y'all know I love burnt orange. I just love, love, love this. I have been wanting to try Bahram U for a while. And this is 34% BFL, 33% Masham, and 33% Merino. And I think it's Ruth Loves to Knit that talks about that Masham BFL is just one of her favorite combos. So I've been wanting to feel it, and it is really soft. I've been wanting to knit with this for a while. So I use that sale as an excuse, and the fact that I am going to knit Sophie's sweater. I don't know that it has a name yet, but it's that one that she's been teasing with the cables up here, or maybe it's seed stitch up here and then cables. I can't remember. It's either seed stitch up here and then cables. I think that's right, because I don't think it's cables and then all seed stitch. But anyway, I think it's seed stitch then cables. I'm gonna knit that, and it needs a DK weight yarn. And I cheated. I'm going to tell on myself I cheated, because I have a rule that unless it's super special yarn, which this would have fallen under that, but unless it's super special yarn that I want to use, that is the recommended yarn, and this is not the recommended yarn for hers. It's a similar combo, because she has some real wool that, but I didn't want to order it from Europe either. But all of that to say, I cheated, because I bought this for that test knit. If I get selected, I'm going to knit it either way. If I don't get selected, I'll just wait until it comes out and then I'll knit it. But I bought this, and I reached out to Sophie. She was so incredibly kind. I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm going to buy, I think it's 8 balls that I bought. I'm going to buy 8 balls because I think that's going to be enough. But can you tell me, you know, this is what the yardage is. Can you tell me, is that going to be enough? And she sat back and was like, I cannot imagine a world where you would need more than 8 in that size. I think 8 will be perfectly fine. But if you're uncomfortable, buy an extra one. I did not, because I thought, well, I can always buy another one. But it's just beautiful. And the colorway is Fox. And it's just gorgeous. So if I get picked for the test knit, this will go on my needles for the test knit. If not, then I'll be waiting until it comes out and it'll go on my needles then. This is the only thing that I've got this week that I bought. But I do have something that someone gifted me. And I wrote down her name because I absolutely want to make sure that I get it right. So I was gifted this pattern. This is the Esme pullover. It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. And I was gifted this by, I'm not sure if it's pronounced Karine or Karen. It's Karine. And she gifted this to me on Ravelry. And I want to say thank you so, so much. That was so incredibly kind. And this is in my queue. And I wanted to show you, and that's what fell. It fell over here. And sorry for the crinkles, guys, because this is going to crinkle. I did open them to try to get them to not crinkle as much. But I already have the yarn for it and everything. I am going to make it out of the suggested yarn, which is the alpaca silk by Drops. And I'm going to make it in this beautiful burgundy color. And I will show you, y'all have been asking me to show you what's in some of these bags anyway, so I decided I'd do that too. And so how I store my yarn whenever I have a project is I have the yarn that I'm going to use. And then I have a little note in here. See, this says Esme pullover so that I know. It's also in Ravelry, but it's so that I know when I grab it. If I don't want to pull up my Ravelry, I know what it is. Well, since now I have the pattern will go down in here. And I will zip this back closed. And I will, sorry for the crinkles, but I want to get the air out. I will now have a flat thing that it actually lives on one of the shelves up there. So I'll put that back up there, but you can see that Esme sweater pattern is in there, and I am going to use this yarn. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I did make some notes because I wanted to make sure that I talked about these things. Because I forgot last week, Dana and I took pictures of us in our sweater that was, it's the Cocoa Amore sweater, the Edinburgh. And we took pictures together. And so I'm going to pop that up here. I want y'all to see us wearing our sweaters together. Hers is in the colors that Cheryl had done hers in. And mine, of course, were in the blue and the white. So I'll pop that picture up here. I wanted to make sure that y'all got to see that because our buddy knit is over and we took the picture together. I don't get to do that very often because I don't do buddy knits with people that lived really near me. But so this was a really exciting time to be able to take that picture together. And then, speaking of taking the picture, you'll see we were in the yarn shop. And speaking about the yarn shop, so yarn crawl starts on the 17th. So I wanted to make sure that I talked about this today because I am going to be, Letha graciously asked me if I would come for a meet and greet at the shop. I'm going to be there anyway, so it's no problem for me at all. And so on the 18th, which is the first Saturday of the yarn crawl, I am going to be at Letha's shop the whole day. I think she's open 9 to 6 every day, but I'm going to be there all day Saturday. I would love it if y'all are in the area, if you are doing the yarn crawl, if y'all would come by and say hi. You have no idea how excited I get whenever I meet somebody that watches me. It's a feeling like none other. So I will be there all day. And Rachel Wolf will also be there that weekend. And I'm going to show y'all some of her yarns, also in my bags. But she'll be there as well that first weekend. She's got some absolutely beautiful to die for yarns. And so she's known as RW Designs, I believe is her company name. But it's Rachel Wolf. And so I'm very excited about being there. She is absolutely lovely. I've seen her at a couple of yarn shows and have bought a lot of her yarn. One of the yarn shows I went to, she was the one that I just went, here, take all my money, because I bought several that time. And so again, I'll be there. And the yarn crawl for Arkansas is for 2 weeks. So I will be there that first Saturday. I'll probably be there both weekends, but I will for sure be there the first Saturday all day. All right. Then, okay, 2 more things. One of them I'll do at the very end. There's actually 3 more things because I want to talk about something that I told y'all I'd talk about. But let me just tell you about this is, first of all, thank you for all of the suggestions y'all gave me to, on the podcast that I watch video. I know it said top 12, but I did put in there and more that you should watch. There were a lot more, but now I've got even more. And I'll tell you, some of the ones that y'all recommended were ones that I have already watched, and for whatever reason, I just didn't click with. We don't all like the same things, and it's perfectly fine. I'm not going to share, though, who I clicked with, who I didn't. Some of them I had actually watched, but had forgotten about, because they just weren't popping up on my algorithm, and I hadn't subscribed. So I've rectified that with some of them. And some of them I had just never heard of before, like the Roaming Knitter, who I'm really enjoying now. So there's a lot that I'm watching, and I'm trying to get through them and find some new ones. And I've got a few viewers who told me that they also have podcasts. And so I've gone out there and I've watched them as well. All right, so thank you for that. And then before I get to the RW Wolf, the RW Wolf, the RW Design, the Rachel Wolf stuff, I want to tell y'all about the funny thing that happened last week. I told y'all that I was going to tell you where these were going. Well, last Friday night, as I said, I went to a cookout. And I was off that day for 4th of July, so I had gone up to the yarn shop. And I've already talked a little bit about Owen, one of our resident 9-year-olds. Well, we have another little boy that comes up there named Nate. He is so incredibly cute. And he comes up there and knits. His little sister comes up as well. And they knit. Nate is usually there on Thursday nights. And his sister, and I had forgotten her name. I just drew a blank. I'm so sorry. So sorry if you're watching this, honestly. But anyway, Nate's little sister comes up usually on Saturdays. Well, on Friday, Nate was there. So Nate and his mom, Caitlin, we had, hung out and we had knitted. And his little sister was there too. But we had knitted and we had done all this stuff. Well, anyway, Friday night, I'm at the cookout and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to a friend. And I look over and I'm like, that looks like Nate. But I didn't see Caitlin anywhere. So I just drew it up to, 9-year-olds can look alike. I'm old. Well, then I happened to look over. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Caitlin. So it's a very small world. We wound up at the same cookout. It was really, really great. And then Saturday morning, I got a text saying, hey, you have a new viewer and he's really excited. Where did you get your turtles? So it was a picture of Nate watching my podcast, which just melted my heart, absolutely melted my heart. And so I told Caitlin, I am more than happy to give them to him. So Thursday night, he will get these. And hopefully he and Owen, or just he, anyway, either one or both of them hopefully will make a little guest appearance in one of my future podcasts. So be on the lookout for that. But he is just absolutely adorable. I love seeing kids knit. All right. Now I'm going to show you real quick, again, the bags. And this one is going to be Just Sassy. It's just going to be Just Sassy. And I bought this yarn in Oklahoma at I bought both of these. I tried to find the green that I bought in Fayetteville, but I couldn't find it. But I bought both of these in Oklahoma at the Christmas in July. And look at this yarn. Isn't that just a beautiful color? And again, Fill-A-Vision would be great because this is called Frosted Spruce. And you can see it's RW Custom Yarns. And this is an alpaca silk cashmere. It's 70% alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere blend. It is some of the softest yarn I've ever felt. I am just so excited. I'll put a picture of what I'm going to make out of it. And so this is one of her bases and one of her colorways. And then the other one, I have a book that I bought specifically for this pattern. So it's actually a twin set. I don't think I have enough for the twin set. And I think I may, nope, I guess that's the best picture that I'm going to get. Is that one right there. But there's the t-shirt. I'm not sure I have enough for the twin set, so I may just make the cardigan. I will make the cardigan first, and then if I have enough to make the t-shirt, I will. But I suspect I'm just going to get the cardigan, which is what I bought the book for. And I am going to make it out of this. Isn't this a beautiful, beautiful tweed? This is Cherry Blossom. And this is a tweed sock. And so it's 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and 10% silk net. Or it just says net, but I'm assuming it's silk. So isn't that beautiful? And I have a couple of her tweeds, and then I have some other just solid colors. They're just absolutely stunning. So I'm excited to get to hang out with her at the yarn crawl, because I will just be drooling over her yarns. No telling how much money I'm going to spend by the time she leaves, because I will have been there all day drooling all over those yarns. So help a girl out, come in and buy some of her yarns so that I don't get sucked into being like, oh, and I need this color and this color and this color. Doesn't mean that I won't, but, and she will dye them for you and send them to you. She did a couple of them for me like that from Oklahoma. So, all right. And with that, guys, I am done. I do want to say I am a horrible podcaster, horrible YouTuber. I forget all the time to tell y'all, I would really love it if y'all would like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed. And thank y'all for supporting my channel and being with me every week. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a wonderful knitty